Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we're going to be watching the Players Lounge with three of our linebackers, and Arion Carter, Jeremiah Thielander, and Edwin Spillman. We're going to have Kobe Thomas hosting the show, but I know that y'all like this. I love it too. So without further ado, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and jump into the video.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Player Lounge Season 2. I'm Jacoby Thomas. This is Ed Spillman, Jeremiah Thielander, Arion Carter. And today we're just going to be talking a little bit about, how spring ball went for each and every one of us. So we're going to start off with the young buck with, I guess you could say me too, but how was your first ball walk, first time playing in Neyland actually in front of some people?
My first ball walk, man, it was crazy. It was just like super surreal because literally a couple of months ago I was like a recruit dabbing up all the players before the games, and then it was just crazy that I got to actually walk in there and like be a part of something like that.
All right, so for those of y'all that don't know, Edwin Spillman is a true freshman linebacker for our Volunteers. He's a guy that I think is going to play a lot. And he came from Lipscomb Academy, which is in the Nashville area. And he came up a little bit late, right? So he does get to participate in spring, but he doesn't come as early as most of the players did. So he kind of got a late start compared to the other players in that class that came up early. But he's been extremely impressive. And like I said, I think that he's going to play a lot. So good for him just to be able to go out there on the Vol Walk as an actual player, as opposed to doing it more so, as a high school recruit, fan, things like that.
Yeah, I can say the same, dude. I mean, I've never really gotten a chance to experience a ball walk besides actually that first time. So it was cool. Y'all said there's a lot more people usually there than that. So
There's definitely
A lot more.
a lot more people.
I'm excited to see how that went. But I know you didn't participate in the spring. But how do y'all feel as in a linebacker room? How the spring went for y'all as a whole?
I feel like it went great. I feel like each and every one of us got a lot better. From last year to now, it's night and day. So I think it's been great for us these past 5 weeks.
No, most definitely. From the learning aspect and just like compartmentalizing everything, bro. Like we play a lot more faster. You know what I'm saying? And we more of a unit. You feel me? Especially like bringing in new faces like Edwin. He came in and like he took our culture and he's been running with it. So just like teaching him our ways, and then alongside like teaching him different stuff like that. And then you got Jordan coming in, so you're gonna be able to help him. You feel me? Like you're gonna be light years ahead too.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like we're just gonna be a whole different group this year. We're gonna be a lot better.
So since
All right, so I'm gonna pause it again because this is something that I've talked about a lot. I think that the linebacking core was one of the weak spots of this entire team last season, especially on defense. If you look at the games that we lost, okay, Florida, Mizzou, those teams really targeted our linebackers very heavily. Even whenever you go back to Alabama, okay, in that second half, it was a whole lot of that same stuff. And I said it kind of early on in the season. Once we saw what Florida did to us, that, hey, every single other team is going to try to do the exact same thing. So if we can't get it fixed, then it's going to be a big-time problem. But having these, more athletic linebackers, which is what everyone's talking about right here, okay, we've got two sophomores, okay, and then we've got one true freshman. But again, I think that they're going to play a lot. But having this much more athleticism out here, Keenan Pili, hopefully he can stay healthy throughout the entire season. He's an absolute total stud. Our linebacker room takes a gigantic leap forward, but it's really good to hear how, they kind of are seeing the exact same things out there on the field, because obviously we're seeing very limited, amounts of practice and reps and things like that. But yeah, I think that our defense is going to be ridiculous next season. And a big part of the reason for that is from this linebacker room. Let's let it keep going.
Well, really on the topic of the linebacker room, how is it with adjusting with Coach Inge? How's that going for everybody? Because always when you get a new coach, it's like, it's different for a lot of people. So how's that kind of correlating for all y'all?
For me, it's been great. I feel like I built a great relationship with him, and he's super welcoming. Like, always want us in his office. Always trying to just talk about what we're doing.
You can laugh, bro. You don't have to be so serious.
That man, you don't know what he gonna say.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know. He keep you on your toes. You know what I'm saying? So like, you gotta stay sharp when you in the room with him. But it's a fun environment. He keep everything. He keep it as an open space. You can ask any question. No question is a dumb question.
Yeah.
I like that about him. And you can come in his office and ask him anything. You feel me? I feel like you can.
What you think? That's your first coach. That's
Yeah,
your first college
that's my
coach.
first
You ain't never,
college
you didn't experience BJ, so
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome so far. Like, always helps me get extra like film time, and whenever I ask him questions, he's always there to answer. So he's just taken my like the football mental part to a whole different level, and it's just been super cool.
See, I don't get to get coached by him, but like just seeing him like walk around and stuff.
yeah.
He's real goofy. Like,
Bro, cringy sometimes, but like, it'd be funny. Like, it's like them old dad jokes. Like,
yeah, like some of the,
got a cookout.
Yeah.
Nah,
some of
man.
them jokes be like, you just can't help but laugh. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's
So,
my guy though. That's my guy. I like it.
All right, so I'm gonna pause right here because they're talking about our new linebackers coach, William Inge, who came from Washington. And at first, just seeing some of the clips from him, I wasn't really sure how he was going to fit into the culture here at Tennessee. But I can tell you now, he's a great teacher. That's the biggest thing that you need with a football coach, is being able to teach those X's and O's. This talked about how the linebacker core was a little bit slow last season. Okay, it looked like they couldn't react as quickly as they should have. I don't think it's because they weren't the best athletes. I think it's just more because of, for whatever reason, the way that Coach BJ was kind of giving them that information, they weren't receiving it the best way possible, and they were just confused. But having a coach that's a true teacher that is going to not only tell you what you're doing, but let you know why, that's going to help you out in situations where you might see some things that you didn't talk about in film study, because that is going to happen every now and then. But that's big because our linebacking core is really going to be young, especially the guys that are going to be out there playing a lot. Guys that, played some last season, but still, they're not veterans, right? We've got Keenan Pillar, who is a veteran. Like we just talked about, expect for Edwin Spillman to play. And we also talked about Burns coming up. He'll be here over the summer. Expect for him to play as well. He's just got the, skill set that you want. But having a, coach that's a teacher, that reminds me a lot, okay? And some of y'all might be able to, kind of understand where I'm coming from with this. But my favorite teachers growing up were the ones that kind of did those dad jokes that were a little bit more goofy, because it was easier to remember that information because they were able to give it to you in a way that was kind of like off kilter. And that's really big. So I love hearing that about Coach Inge. It also seems like he's going to be a great recruiter for us. So I think that was a home run hire for us. And I can say the same thing about Coach Sims when I'm talking about running backs in this video. But that's really good to hear that all of the players love him and they all have an individual story just kind of talking about him. That just lets you know that, again, he is a guy that whatever he gives to you, it kind of, like you can retain that inside of your mind. That's huge playing in the SEC.
So I didn't know this until today, but you haven't really been a linebacker for all that long.
Yeah, nah.
So, because I had the same issue, like I had to transfer positions in college and stuff.
Right.
And I know my transition from, offensive player to defense was like night and day. Like I had to completely break down everything.
Yeah.
So what did you play in high school?
Everything. I played running back, kick return, punt return. I played strong safety and free safety in high school, like freshman year. Bro, I was coming downhill. You feel me?
You weren't covering.
Yes,
though.
I was.
No, you weren't.
Definitely.
Most definitely not.
Definitely was, but I didn't play linebacker until a senior year of my high school.
And you hit like a crazy growth spurt too, didn't you?
Bruh.
Like you was smaller like your freshman year, wasn't you?
Bro, 8th grade. Bro, like how tall was y'all in the 8th grade?
Man,
5'10".
5'10"?
yeah, maybe around that.
I was like 5'7".
Bro, guess how tall I was? I was 5'4". I was
Damn,
5'4" in the 8th grade.
5'4" in 8th grade.
Literally, I kid you not, right hand on the Bible. My middle school teacher in the 8th grade, I asked her one day, like, how tall are you? Like, she's towering over me. She's like, I'm 5'6". I'm like, what? And then, like, bro, we get into high school, and then that summer, I'm like 5'8", you feel me? And I'm like 140. And then my sophomore year, I jumped from like 5'8" to like 5'11 and a half, 6 foot. That year, I'm talking about knees killing me.
Growing pains.
Growing pains like crazy. Like, what's it called? Osgood slaughter?
Yeah.
That jump was terrible.
I
But,
bet.
yeah, like,
Because you was playing basketball too, wasn't you?
yeah, and running track. Because I did high jump, long jump. I know you was a high jumper too.
All right, so I'm going to stop it right there as he's kind of talking about the other sports that he played. And, we're talking about Arion Carter. So for those of y'all that don't know, Arion Carter came in as a linebacker in the 2023 class. He was mostly considered to be a running back prospect, didn't have very big offers at that point. I want to say maybe Middle Tennessee State might have been his biggest one. But then, once he switched over to linebacker as a senior, especially like towards the end of that cycle, everyone was in on him. It actually came down between us and Alabama right there at the end. But just knowing that he has that versatility to be able to go from playing pretty much every single position, especially safety, where he can cover. Now he's about 6'1", 6'2", 235, 240 pounds. And I think that he's going to be able to move as well as he did in high school this year. Last season, looked like he gained a little bit too much weight too quickly, and he kind of, was a step slower. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be absolutely tremendous. So a lot of people have been asking who's going to be our starting linebackers, Keenan Pili, and who else? Is it going to be Arion Carter? Is it going to be Jeremiah Thielander? I would kind of lean more towards Arion Carter's because his ceiling is literally, and I mean, not to, take it too far, but his buzz as a true freshman was as such as, a player like Eric Berry. So just to kind of, let y'all know how good of a player Arion can be and what a lot of the expectations are, that is what we're talking about at the linebacker level. And I love the idea of moving a safety to a linebacker position because of those reasons. And we've got a guy like, Shady Hayward, who we are expecting to be committing to our Volunteers over the summer, who plays safety right now, but he can end up growing into a linebacker, being very similar to an Arion Carter. So also just kind of talking about the way that they grow. You never really know. I mean, some players do kind of hit that growth spurt a little bit later. For him to be 5'4", out of his 8th grade year, and then coming into his freshman season in high school, grows to be about 5'8", 140 pounds, just for a point of reference. That's around the size of my nephew Braylon, who plays more of a, he's more of like a skill guy. So, hopefully he can hit that same type of growth spurt. And I can just tell you this right now on a personal note, if he ends up getting anywhere over about, 6'3", he's playing basketball all the way. But that is really big to note. I think that Arion's just going to be an absolute total stud for us. But let's listen to what he has to say about track, because I believe that everyone inside this room ran track. That's just part of playing football. If you play it, if you have a really good coach, you're going to run track. But let's hear some of their stories.
Yep. So
You high jump?
yep.
What?
6'4", bro.
I'm saying,
I
bro.
swear.
What?
That's crazy.
I swear. Yeah.
6'4" is crazy.
I swear, bro.
I've only got the 6'2". Like that was.
Nah,
You played other sports in high school too?
I did. I ran track. But
I feel like every football player either runs track or wrestles.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a great point right there about Kobe Thomas. But I want to talk about what my dog JT just said about jumping to 6'4" in the high jump. Now, I've talked about this in a previous video that I used to do the high jump. I don't remember exactly what I don't remember exactly what it was, but 6'4", he's about 6'2". So that's pretty impressive. That just goes to show you the type of athletes that we have. But let's let them finish.
It's like a given. Like you either do one or the other.
Like it's essential. Like I feel like if you want to get your speed up and like just running form and conditioning, you in track shape, you in any type of sport shape.
You gotta play track.
Honestly, did you play it? Did you run track?
Yeah, I did run track, but like my track coach was also my running backs coach because I played running back in high school.
So he forced you.
Yeah, like there was really there was no choice. Like I had to run track, but like all my coaches in high school kind of influenced running track.
All right, so again, I just want to bring this up to y'all. If y'all have kids or something that are going on to high school or playing in high school, if the football coach is not pushing them towards track, and I mean, it's not 100%, but I mean, that is the sign of a really good coach. Okay, I can tell you for sure, if you play football, especially at a skill position, you're going to be running track. You need to do it. It just goes hand in hand so well. Football helps with track. Track helps a lot with football. We'll kind of hear them speaking on that. Just to get in shape, right? So track season kind of ends right there before spring practice. And spring practice ends up being so easy because after running track, I mean, you are in incredible shape. It's a completely different type of shape, but it most definitely helps with your speed and things like that.
Like Coach Olive was my head coach, and Coach Shaw was my running back coach. Yeah. And he was not playing. He's not one to play. Like, if you ever get a chance, look up what he looked like in high school, bro. Bro was like 6'5", with just like
strong neck.
Yes, bro.
No
neck. Like nothing at all. But no, like I feel like track was a given for everybody. I high jumped, but like I was more of a long jumper.
Word.
Yeah.
What was your long jump?
I can't even remember off the top of my head. I stopped seriously running track my senior year because I really just wanted to play football.
Word.
Like I would just go to track practice. I wouldn't compete in nothing. I would just go to track practice.
Yeah.
That's all I would do.
Nah, track practice was definitely fun though. Like I always loved track practice.
No.
See, but it wasn't a hard track practice for us.
No.
Like we was kind of just messing around.
Nah, bro. We doing like 250 repeats. And like I did the 300 hurdles.
Hey, you walk
300 hurdles?
I did the 300 hurdles. I competed in the state championship for track meet for 300 hurdles. So like that 2 week, you get that 2 week period before state.
Yeah.
But at least it went. Bro, I'm doing 400 repeats with the hurdles all across the track. Bro, I'm dying every practice. That was not fun.
That's got to be the hardest race, though. 300
300
hurdles?
Gotta be, because it's like,
No,
bro,
the 800.
I don't
You
even
ran
know
the
nothing
800?
about that. I
I
ain't run nothing past the 400.
No. My coach made me do a
about to say.
decathlon though. My sophomore year.
All right, so I'm gonna pause it one more time. All right, so listen, whenever they're talking about the hardest race in track, I think the 400 hurdles probably is it because that's a full speed sprint, and you've got to go over those hurdles. But Kobe just talked about the 800. That one's tough too. The difference is though, in the 800, you're not sprinting for both of those laps. Now it is a very tough race, but I would say 400 hurdles, and the 800. That's the three toughest races, and you can kind of make arguments for any of them. But just to hear that Arion Carter competed in the state championship in the 300-meter hurdles, I mean, again, it just goes to show how great of an athlete he is and the tier of player that we're getting up here in Knoxville. This is what it used to be back up on the former. There's a lot for us to be excited about. But let's finish listening to what Kobe has to say.
Yeah, no.
Bro, that was like the hardest thing I've ever
What's
done in my
that?
life.
Yeah.
So you do like 10 events.
Oh, shit.
Like you do 10 different events. And bro, I think the first day was all the field events. So we had like shot put, discus, pole vaulting, high jump, long jump.
You did shot put?
Yeah, bro. I don't remember none of my track, but I know a pole vault though, I got 6'2". That's all I could do. That's like
Bro, I wouldn't even attempt that, so I
Bro,
salute you on that.
No, bro. That is like the
attempt
hardest upper body movement I've ever done in my life.
I feel like if any of us would have tried that, we break the pole. Like,
No, yeah.
But they have poles for your weight though. Like there's certain weights.
I don't know how a pole like that can just hold somebody's body.
they look too flimsy.
Yeah, it is, bro. It's really scary. But like, back like you were talking about track practice, bro. I remember we used to do these we had time 200s. You had to do them in 26 seconds, and that's like race speed.
26?
But you got, well, yeah, bro. Because usually like the average high school is not running under 22, 23. So like
No, it's definitely fast. 26.
26. Okay, but think about it like this: you got 26
Repeats? Like, yeah.
Yes, you got 20. So you run the 200, you walk the curb, walk the straight, and you roll right back into it. 26.
Yep.
But you got like 8 reps of them.
Yep.
Bro, track.
All right, so just for those of y'all that don't know, we keep on hearing Arion Carter talking about repeats. What that means in track is you have a certain time to be able to finish these, races in or under whenever you're in practice. And if you don't do it, then you have to do it again. That's the way that we practice too. It sounds like my track practice was harder than all of them, but it kind of sounds like Arion Carter's was about the closest. It was the real deal, dude. I mean, like you are running, having to do 200 meters in 26 seconds. I mean, you have to sprint. Like, you've got to run. That's a whole lot of running. I don't know how many they had to do. I don't know if they talk about that, but they might come up here in just a minute. It's not a joke, but let me just let them finish.
Practice is different. Like, you really got to be different from track. But like, so since we talking about different, we're going to talk about Georgia high school football because we all from Tennessee. You the only Georgia kid in here. So tread lightly here.
It's definitely top tier. It's like consistent good teams throughout every single classification. And like you can't even say that's not.
We beat a Georgia team.
Who?
Milton.
Milton's not even that good, bro.
They would be y'all.
Nah.
No.
Not 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I don't know when Lipscomb played up against Milton, but Milton did just win the 7A state title last season in Georgia. We were just talking to my dog, Ty Redmond, and he plays for Milton. They've got a whole lot of really good players that come up out of there. But I would have to agree with what JT's saying so far. Georgia football, especially at the highest classification, now he came from Gainesville, which I want to say was in the second highest classification. That was a really good, spot in that season because, there were several really good teams. But anyway, yes, Georgia football, it is literally like in the higher classifications, it is like SEC ball. You're seeing Power 5 guys every single week. Like you don't really get a real break. And that's what makes it difficult. What you'll notice though with some of these teams that end up, kind of playing some out of state teams early on, they may not always perform the best. But what happens is like we do that just to kind of like test ourselves and then going into the playoffs and stuff, they're ready, and you'll see them do a lot better for that. But I think that Lipscomb is a really good, school. It's a really good team. But, I would say that for sure, like with no question, Georgia football is a lot better than Tennessee football on the high school level, just from top to bottom. It's really not even close. But let's let them finish talking.
I would say how like Georgia high school football is like they are one of the top states. You feel me?
Yeah.
In the country, I feel like.
I mean, yeah.
Definitely top 3.
Top 3. Who won though?
Texas.
Texas.
I have to say Texas.
I gotta say
Texas,
Texas because
Florida.
like they facilities and like just the
Okay,
stuff
but
they
you also
got,
gotta
like,
look at the
But like if we
how
being
many people
honest,
they got in the state.
True,
Yeah.
but like if we being honest, like if Florida had all of their equipment and facilities, I put Florida up there.
Some of my best friends from old school are from Florida, and they are like the craziest athletes I've ever seen.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true. There's some crazy athletes in
Like
Florida.
I had one of my best friends. His name's James. Dude's from Pahokee,
Oh,
and they rabbit hunt in Pahokee, barehanded.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Could you imagine catching a rabbit with your bare hands?
And they're just running after it.
Yes, like on foot, bro.
but that's why they so fast.
Yeah.
That's Florida.
Bro, I'm telling you. And then like, I don't know, Tennessee football, bro, is like you got to throw a little bit of respect in there because like we got a little bit.
All right, so I'm going to pause it right there because he's talking about Pahokee, Florida. I actually believe that Joe Milton was born there. Now, I don't think he played high school football there, but I believe that's kind of like where he grew up at for the most part. I think that they call it Muck City, but yeah, they chasing rabbits and things like that. A lot of players have come from there. But I also just need to, make sure that I stand up for my state. For everyone that doesn't know, because there was a little bit of a talk back and forth about, hey, if Florida had, what Texas has, and, we heard Colby Thomas talking about, well, Texas has so many people. Whenever you look at it per capita, the state of Georgia produces the most NFL players. Okay, I think it's been like that for the past 4 or 5 years, and the most Power 5 players. And inside of Georgia, Gwinnett County has produced more than any other county in the entire state. Now, I will say this: whenever it comes to Florida, if you're talking about South Florida, Dade County, Broward County, the type of athletes that they have down there is different. It's just something about them. They're just literally almost built for football from top to bottom. So there's a whole lot of talent down there. I hope that Tennessee can kind of get back down there and find some more players. I'm very confused as to why Miami can't be a more prominent team. I guess that, their facilities and things like that aren't that great. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. Okay, those are my 2 cents, but we are going to let them finish.
But we got some guys that come out of Tennessee, like
Especially Nashville, though, too. I've been impressed with what I've heard.
Murfreesboro, Nashville area. Then you got like your certain schools that are like outside of everything that's in there, except Lipscomb Academy.
Yeah. Lipscomb is a great school, great football.
Bro.
We have the state championship to prove it, bro.
Wow.
And we were 13th in country like 2 years ago.
What classification were y'all? Private? What?
Yeah, private school. It was like D-AA, something like that.
So y'all playing like Macaulay's and Baylor's?
Well, we moved up my senior year, so we went to like 3A. But yeah.
Aren't y'all like a charter school though? Like barely.
Yes, y'all are,
It's a
bro.
private school. It's a
I
random
heard some
private
crazy
school.
stuff about
Nah.
Lipscomb, bro.
Nah.
I've heard some crazy stuff about Oakland. I've heard some crazy stuff about Oakland.
They got athletes. They got athletes for sure.
So, since we really are defensive, like, how do y'all like the scheme of everything? Like how everything rolls in our defense, call to call. Like, I get excited when we're playing, or like even when we're just doing team, just because like Coach Banks is like it's just different. Like everything's you can never expect anything from him.
No, you can't.
So in the linebacker room, I know y'all's is a little bit more complex than everything for me, but what's that like playing in the box?
Shoot.
You got to know everything.
You gotta know everything.
Man.
You gotta know
Oh my
fronts, stunts. You gotta know what's happening in front of you. We gotta be in tune with the D line, and we gotta be in tune with y'all.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Cause y'all gotta give us calls. Checks from 3x1, 2x2. You feel me? So we gotta be in line with everything. So like, we really
Especially
are like the quarterbacks of the defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we need y'all to help us, and we gotta be able to command the front.
It's really like a flow of water. Like everything starts from the back end and just goes.
Nah, it does.
Exactly.
Nah, for real.
Like we make the D line right, and then you can make us right, or we
Exactly.
can make y'all right.
I'm not gonna lie, the D-line makes everything so much easier.
No cap.
Bro,
Like,
playing with our
So
D-line,
much
it's so much easier.
For real.
Like,
All right, so I'm gonna pause it right there just to kind of talk about what they're saying about Coach Banks and saying, hey, he's throwing different stuff at him in practice. And again, Kobe Thomas is very new. He just came, or, he's just been practicing here since spring. But that's good, okay? Like, that's good that he is introducing him to a bunch of different looks because you never know what you're going to have to call in a real-time game situation. We talked about this earlier in the video. Sometimes teams will come out with some things that you haven't seen before, but you've got to be able to adjust on the fly. And the best way to be able to, get that message across to your players so that they understand what to do is to kind of do some random stuff out there in practice. So that's the sign of a really good coach, but also hearing how the linebackers have to know what the front does, what the back end does, and obviously what they do, kind of like what the quarterback has to know. You got to know what everyone on the entire offensive side of the ball is doing and really on the other side of the ball as well. So that's big because can Edwin Spillman, can Burns pick it up? It's going to mean a lot for us because we're going to need those guys. I'm telling you, they're going to have to play this season, especially Edwin Spillman. We've already seen that. We're going to need him because Elijah Herring left. Okay, Caleb Perry is a guy that's more of a veteran. He can kind of step in, but at some point, someone might kind of go down, whether they're banged up or any of that type of stuff. Edwin Spillman's going to have to get thrown out there into the fire in SEC play, and the training wheels come off, okay? Like, this is live action, okay? You've got to know what's going on. So I think that he's picking it up well. You can just kind of hear by the way that he's speaking. He's a very intelligent young man, and so is everyone else up here on the panel. Just very excited about this team, but let's finish hearing what they're saying about the defensive line because it kind of sounds like they're going into how stacked that unit is. We've heard that a lot this offseason.
everything's
the
so much
gaps gonna
easier.
be this wide. Sometimes I'm like just running straight through it.
Exactly, bro. Like,
bro, easy.
All right, so let me stop right there just so that y'all understand what's going on. So Jeremiah T-Lander just was talking about how the gaps on the line from the defensive line doing what they're supposed to do is so big that he says, man, look, all I got to do is just run straight through it, and I'm going to be making those plays. So that's kind of what the defensive line can do for the linebackers in a running situation. But they also will kind of eat up a lot of those blocks so that the linebackers can go hunt. That's how it works.
DTF.
Yes, bro.
it's crazy to watch, like, when I'm rolling the tape sometimes, watching the D-line get doubled, and they don't move.
Bro.
Like, they just be like Bryson Easton, prime example. Every time he gets doubled, I look at it, bro. I'm like,
Yes.
This
Bro, like
man-
an anchor, bro.
I'm like, this man is insanely strong, bro. Amari, too.
Him and Big E.
Big E,
Oh
Big
my
E's
God.
crazy at it.
What?
That boy Big E, a big
All right, so really quickly, whenever we're talking about Bryson Easton, he's a guy that we, have heard a whole lot about this offseason. Last year, he did a pretty good job in run support, but I would honestly say that he was one of, maybe not one of the worst, but I would say that he was more like on the mid-tier as far as run support for our tackles last year. He kind of talked about being up under 300 pounds, and now he's up over that, and you can tell. It sounds like they're saying, man, he's not getting moved in those double teams. For our tackles inside of our system in run support, they've got to be able to eat up those double teams is what we just talked about. But that is so big to hear because Bryson Easton, along with everyone else that they're talking about, obviously Big O, he's looking phenomenal. Elijah Simmons, who they call Big E, looking phenomenal. They're going to talk more about him here in just a second. But, yeah, our D-line is for real.
Crazy work.
I've not seen anything
giving
like
crazy
that, man,
work.
bro.
Bro, I remember when I first came in, I was watching Big E front squat.
Bro.
This man had, I think it was like 555 on the bar.
Yes.
And he was just,
Not even struggling.
Not struggling. Like,
Nothing.
everybody gets around him, like waiting, like in suspense, and like we like, all right, like he gonna,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
get
be
a
a little,
little-
it's gonna be a little, it's gonna get hard, bro. Up and down,
Yeah.
like easy, bro. I'm
like, it's really nothing
And he
for
just
him.
racking and just like
just
smile
rack it
or
like it
whatever.
ain't nothing, bro. Continue to work out like it ain't nothing, bro. Like straight.
All right, so that's also very impressive. Okay, they're talking about big Elijah Simmons. Front squatting 550. That's insane. All right, most people can't even back squat 550, but to be able to front squat it, front squatting is, I would say, maybe 2.5 times harder than back squatting is, especially whenever you're talking about inside of a college weight room because you go below parallel. So those are real squats. And that right there is extremely impressive. And it goes to show why he's kind of, that guy playing at tackle that's been so good in run support, why he's so explosive, why he's so strong. Again, defensive line is stacked. I don't know which, is it the defensive tackles or is it the ends that's more stacked, but we're loaded, man. I think we've got the best defensive line in the entire country.
It's crazy.
No, bro, I remember, bro, oh boy, Big E's different. I'm not gonna say that, but we had a little scrimmage click.
Oh, God.
And I had to.
That's what I was going to talk about, bro.
I had to hit Big E.
Bro came in on that bowl package.
Oh, gosh.
He came down here. You had to make a business decision.
Hey,
No cap.
hey, I ain't gonna lie. That's probably like one person I look at. I'm like, I don't want to hit him. Like head up, I don't want to hit him.
Bro, you real life got to make a business decision.
Like it's like
Cause like it was goal line. Wasn't it like
it was
fourth
goal
and
line.
one?
Yeah, goal line, bro.
1 yard.
Like 1 yard,
And you know
like,
he's coming
You know
right
he's
here.
coming. They running right behind him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, bro. But here's the thing. It's not like I lined up, seen him, and was like, dang, he's too big. It's I lined up and thought about him front squatting 500 pounds. Like it was nothing. And I was like, you know what? It is what it is, bro. I gotta do what I gotta do.
All right, so let me stop right there so that y'all understand what's going on. It sounds like in practice what they've been doing inside of spring is Big Elijah Simmons has been playing kind of like a fullback role or maybe like a sniffer role, which is kind of like that lead blocker. And he's what, like 6'1", 6'2", something like that, 330, 340 pounds, front squatting 550 pounds, for reps with ease and then continue his workout like it ain't nothing. So he's that lead blocker in the short yardage situations, especially on the goal line. I think that it was almost wrong of the coaches to put Kobe Thomas in a, manufactured one-on-one situation where he's got to go fill that hole with Big Elijah Simmons being that lead blocker. So for those of y'all that think that, that you want to play college football or NFL football, any of that, some of y'all younger kids, understand they're playing on defense. You're going to have to do this type of stuff sometimes, even if it's just in practice. You might not be doing it in games, but the coaches want to get a look and say, hey, what is this player going to do in a situation like this? Is he going to continue to be that, hard-nosed player that comes in, sticks his neck in there, all right? Are you going to stick your nose in there with a guy that's that much bigger than you, that much stronger than you? You have to do it if you want to play football. It's completely and totally different. I don't know what Kobe Thomas ended up doing. It sounds like he made a business decision, which what does that mean? Maybe he just goes straight to, Elijah Simmons' ankles, or maybe he just gets out the way. We don't know because they don't really specify, but I think that was very interesting, and it's something that should help this team out a lot moving forward in this season. I think that we can most definitely be very deadly inside of that red zone with a guy like Big Elijah Simmons being a lead blocker for, Dylan Sampson, Bishop, Khalifa Keith, Cam Seldon once he comes back. So that's very exciting for us as volunteer fans.
But no, so me, Jamal, and them came on here last couple weeks ago. We talked about the game that we're most excited for. So for y'all, what's like one game that y'all are most excited to play in? Could be home or away.
I'll say Oklahoma. I'm excited for every game, but just to go back to Coach Hyatt's old place.
Yeah, go to
and
Norman.
Because he ain't been back since, I don't think, from what he said.
I don't think so.
So that's like
I never
big
knew
time
that.
game.
I never knew he came from Oklahoma.
Yeah. He played quarterback there.
Yeah, he played quarterback. He was like that.
Yeah.
I thought he played at Auburn.
Nah.
He at Oklahoma.
He coached there too
He was
for
like
a little
that,
bit,
right?
right?
Natty?
I don't know
It
if
was
he won a
either
natty.
a natty or a Heisman, one of them. Yeah.
So
But yeah, I'm excited though for all the games because it's my first season and everything like that, so it's gonna be fun, like competing.
Dude, I wish I could go back to my first year of college football. Like, I wish I could go back to that, like, the first big game experience. But, like, so you said you're excited for all of them. You said Oklahoma and all of them.
So, really, Alabama. I'm ready for Bama.
That's a big one too.
Home game, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to light them cigars.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bro,
for sure.
we played them last year.
Bro.
All right, so let me just kind of go back. So Jeremiah T. Lander's talking about Oklahoma. I think that's a really big game. Now, I believe the part of the reason he didn't mention Georgia here is because he did mention Georgia with Austin Price in the Ball Club Confidential. I think that's the game that he's going to be the most fired up for. Being from Georgia, that's usually how it goes. And then, Edwin Spillman, obviously, he's going to be excited for all of them. Just as a college player, it's going to be a really big deal for him. Seems like he's the type of a player that will feed off of that energy, and he's going to play up to it, right? And that's what you want to see. That's what you want to hear, especially from your linebacking core. And they'll kind of talk a little bit more about what the crowd noise does to him here in just a second. And then with Arion Carter, like we said, that his whole deal came down between us and Alabama. And I think that Alabama came in a little bit later than we did. We were a little bit earlier to the party with Arion Carter. So I know that he probably wants to get back at him. That's usually how it works out. It's like, okay, either it's the team that you're playing from the team that you're playing up against that's from the state that you're from, or it's the, maybe number 2 school that you did not select coming out of high school. But let's let them finish going.
That's all I can say, bro.
Y'all playing at their place?
Yeah. Yeah. But, like, I'm excited really for all the home games. Because, like, even in the little, like, the orange and white game, the minimum amount of people that we had there was way more than what I'm used to for a home game.
Yeah.
So, like, to imagine that times 10, like 100,000 people in there, it's kind of like.
Yeah, like,
Nah, it's crazy.
it was kind of like I was like, it was low key, like, underwhelming of the spring game this year. Like, I wish you got to experience what our spring game was last year. It was like 50,000.
Yeah.
50,000 people was there, like literally from bottom row seats up to the top from the home side, just all filled up half. So like, that was like crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I feel like there would have been more this year too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so I'm hoping that the renovations and stuff will be done so that we don't have to keep on going through this in the spring practices and in the spring games, because I know that that's a really big deal for the players coming up in high school to see, especially at that point, because in spring you're heading into the summer, and the summertime is where most people will be choosing their school. So you really want to get a good vibe of, man, look, like I've been to a couple of different spring games, but I ain't never seen a, school or a fan base show as much support as what Tennessee is. And I definitely feel like if the stadium had been fully open for the past, few seasons, we probably would have set the record for the most attendance at our spring game. That's going to be something for us to look forward to in the hopefully next season. But I would say for sure after that, we should be done with all the renovations to the stadium.
Dude, I still can't imagine like 10 times that.
Bro, 102,000 people.
Every
And
game.
we
Every
play
game.
defense too. So when when their offense is going,
It's loud.
our stadium is like rocking to try to get them off.
Is it really
loud,
like
bro.
you can't hear anything? Like, cause
Bro.
they talk about like the linebacker next to you, like you can't even hear what they're saying and stuff like
Bro,
that. Is it
like
really
South
that
Carolina. Literally, South Carolina, you remember we was on there 4-for-1?
Yeah.
I'm yelling at you like you cannot hear
Nah,
me. Like, Jeremiah. You
can't hear
me.
anything.
Ball snap, you
Yeah.
just gotta go play.
Yeah.
That's why I think that's why they're so big on like us knowing our job.
Yeah.
So you can limit the communication on
Yeah.
field.
That's why you got to be prepared.
Right.
And like we'll even do some practices like where there's no communication. Like we just gotta like no communicating the check. We just gotta play.
Yeah, we do that sometimes. We did that a couple times just when
Yeah.
Coach Banks was like, don't echo the call.
Yeah.
Everybody get the signal and stuff like that.
That's critical.
Listen, first off, let me just talk about what they just talked about, okay? With Coach Banks telling them, hey, look, we're not going to kind of, talk to one another here. You just need to know what to do. You got to figure it out. I love that. I absolutely love that. And the play that the Arion Carter and Jeremiah T-Lander was just talking about on that 4th-and-1 play versus South Carolina, I feel like I remember that whenever they were both out there. I was like, oh, man, we're going to have both of the true freshmen out here on a critical 4th-and-1 play. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do kind of feel like I remember them it just looked like they didn't really know what to do, and they just had to figure it out. It's like I saw them kind of like trying to talk, and I could tell that they didn't really get it. And then they just said, forget it. We're just going to line up and play ball. But that is such a big, big, big deal that we're doing that type of coaching. That is what you want to see. And that's why I think that this team is going to win a national championship, because we're just doing everything that it takes. Like everything is in place from top to bottom. It is first class all the way around. I love it.
Yeah, bro, like not communicating, like it's hard. Like not being able to say something to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't never over communicate. I feel like over communication is a better thing than under communication, because one person could be off, one person could be playing quarters while the other person could be playing cover 2. We get hit with a bomb, like, you know what I'm saying? But it's all about trusting the man beside you with all 11 at the end of the day.
But the thing that I think helps me a lot going into the season, like especially last year, like we're so used to our offense, like tempo.
Yeah.
And so like we only got like 2 seconds pre-snap.
To
And then
line
when we
up.
get in the season, like we actually got like time to like see the formation, get the call in. So like, and we're like, dang, like we're used to like 2 seconds. So
You get your communication in quick.
yeah.
All right, so that's going to be it for this video. But I do also want to just touch on the last thing that everyone was saying. Okay, obviously being able to communicate as a defense is a very, very critical part of playing defense. That's where you kind of see those busted coverages. If someone's not quite on the same page, because it does get hard. Even if you're signaling in, it does get hard, because if the offense kind of changes their formation, then whatever you came out in, okay, on defense, that's going to change based off of the formation. And if you don't know what's going on, or, if that change hasn't been, kind of told to you by your teammates, whoever, then yeah, there could be a big time bust in coverage. I also really like the fact that Jeremiah T-Lander talking about, man, look, we are used to playing up against offenses with tempo. So what that tells us that we are going to be good up against teams that play tempo. We're going to be ready for that. And also teams that don't play it, it's going to be a lot easier for us to get the calls and be in the right play at the right time. So that's it for this video. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, other volunteer fans. Leave your thoughts and comments down in the comments section. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.